And the second question? If you were the government, what would you have done? What should the Prime Minister offer more funding to the provinces? It's clear that the Trudeau government has chose not to follow the game and prefers to launch a political attack rather than management in New Brunswick. This is another example where the Liberal government talks a lot about francophone communities and language communities, but in reality gives no support to ensure that the games can go on.
Back to the SNC-Lavalin, the Star was reporting that you had met with those officials last year and discussed this prosecution, potential legislation deal. Did you speak to that and what was said between you and the SNC-Lavalin?
Yes. In contrast to Justin Trudeau, I've been fully transparent on this. We still don't know what the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, still won't confirm what the nature of his conversations were. I received information as to what provision in the budget contained and received information about the company's position on that aspect of the legislation. What Justin Trudeau is being accused of is having his offense go far beyond receiving information and interfering in an ongoing independent criminal prosecution to get a desired outcome, to get a special deal from that company.
Tell us about you met with officials from SNC-Lavalin and what did you discuss?
As I said, I received information as to their position on a provision in the budget as it related to deferred prosecution agreements. That is a completely different issue than having allegations where the Prime Minister is being accused of interfering in an ongoing independent criminal prosecution to try to get that special deal. The decisions based on whether or not what remedies would be applied, what penalties would be applied to companies facing these very serious charges should be left in the hands of independent prosecutors. It should be left in the hands of our independent judicial system. And when the allegations are centered around officials in the Prime Minister's office putting pressure on the Attorney General to get that special deal, that is a very serious issue, and that's exactly why we are calling for the committee to be allowed to investigate this.
When you saw the information, did you express your opinion to SNC-Lavalin? Was this like a two-way communication? What did you say?
It was the first time that I had received information as to the nature of what was being proposed. These changes were contained in an omnibus piece of budget legislation. These are changes to criminal proceedings that were contained in a budget bill. That's the extent of it. The question now is what happened after the Director of Public Prosecutions made her decision, and that's where these allegations get so serious, because the accusation is that the Prime Minister's office started to exert pressure on the independent independent Attorney General, onto other officials to get that special deal, to not just give the option to the Director of Public Prosecutions to have that as part of the options, but to say that's the option that we want in this case. That is why these accusations are so serious, because it's one thing for Parliament to pass legislation to say these are things this is the range of options that prosecutors can choose. It's another thing when the Prime Minister's office or officials close to him start to interfere to get a desired outcome. That's the big difference.
What do you think of Wayne Long asking for the committee to actually do the investigation?
Well, look, there are a number of Liberal MPs that are starting to understand the seriousness of these accusations, and seem to be supporting our efforts to get the Justice Committee to look into this. I will point out with Mr. Long that in the past he said one thing here in New Brunswick and another thing in Ottawa. He voted against Energy East, even though he spoke in favor of it here in New Brunswick. He spoke against the hikes on small businesses, but ultimately he supported the measures that the Liberals put in. It's good to see some Liberals coming out now that they realize this is so serious. I hope that they actually go beyond just saying something in the media and urge their colleagues on the Justice Committee to support our motion.
What happens next if on Wednesday the Liberals vote down the opposition?
Well, first and foremost, then, Canadians will understand that obviously Justin Trudeau is trying to hide something. If right now all we have to go on is his word. The new Attorney General, David Lametti, said that the reason why he doesn't believe there needs to be an investigation is because Justin Trudeau says we don't need to have one. Well, you'll pardon me, but this is the same Prime Minister who said there was nothing wrong with his illegal vacation. There was nothing wrong with having a minister hand out special contracts to family members. So you'll pardon me if I don't take Justin Trudeau at his word. I think it's time, we heard today Justin Trudeau said that he spoke to Jody Wilson-Raybould and he reported on the nature of those conversations. I think it's time for Justin Trudeau to stop speaking for Jody Wilson-Raybould and let her speak for herself. They are facing criminal charges through independent criminal proceedings. It is completely inappropriate for politicians, elected officials, to start determining what should be the proper outcome of those independent proceedings. We wouldn't do that on criminal cases against individuals. We are saying to the government of China that we have independent proceedings when it comes to charges. It's imperative that we allow judges, Crown prosecutors, independent judicial agencies, whether they're courts or prosecutors, to do that work. Politicians should not be interfering to get special deals for corporations or for individuals.